All right, welcome to this video. What we're gonna talk about today is how my clients are building $10,000 a month online coaching businesses without going viral. They're not sending any sort of cold DMs. They're not posting 5 times per day. And in fact, most of my clients right now are not even taking sales calls. So you're here more than likely because you're currently posting content, but you just don't feel like you're getting much out of it. I'm hearing this so much right now. Coaches are feeling invisible in the timeline. We're gonna talk about what to do about that. You're actively trying to grow your business, but you're probably not experiencing enough lead gen right now. Your audience isn't growing. Your social media just feels really stagnant. And more than likely, you're actually a really great coach, right? You're a great coach. You get people results. You're really good at what you do. But right now, heading into 2026, you can't figure out how do I actually get consistent clients and consistent sales each month. So let me drag this out of the way. Let me actually make this smaller. That was actually me back in 2016. All right, so this is me over here on the right. I was really great at what I did. I was a powerlifting coach. I was super into strength training. I was passionate about lifting and helping people. I had the mentors. I was doing all this stuff. I even grew my Twitter account to over 10,000 followers at the time, but my program was just not growing. It wasn't growing as much as I would like. From a social media standpoint, it looked like I was crushing. I had all these followers. I was getting all kinds of engagement, all kinds of comments and likes. I was crushing on the social media front, but in reality, I was still working a 9 to 5. So while it looked like I was crushing, the business wasn't, right? And it was defeating. I remember at the time feeling like super confused. I wasn't sure what to do. And it actually led me to a single night. It was a Friday night where I decided, I was like, hey, this isn't really working for me. Like, I'm not growing. I'm not making enough money. And I'm actually just gonna go get a full-time job, right? I did have a sales call on the calendar for the following morning. So for that Saturday morning. And I decided that, hey, if I'm going to get a job, I'm just going to get on this call and I'm just going to figure out if I can help this person. And so I dropped all of the scripts and the tactics and all this business stuff that I've been trying to implement. I was trying so hard. And I was just like, dude, I'm just going to literally help this guy. So to this day, I still say this is one of the most memorable sales calls that I've ever took. I just got on there and I just talked to him. I remember I actually still have the notebook where I took the sales call and I was taking notes. And I just figured out, I was like, how can I help this guy? I just talked to the other person that was on the other side of the phone and just figured out how I could help him. I told him exactly what I would do in his situation. And for the first time ever, he actually turns things around and he asked me, he was like, hey man, this is awesome. This all sounds really great. Is this something that you can actually help me with? And so of course I was like, yeah, and this ended up actually turning into my very first $1,500 paid in full. But I share this story with you because this was really a breakthrough moment for me, right? Not only did I get my biggest PIF of all time at that moment, but it was a breakthrough for me realizing that I was just so far down the rabbit hole of tactics and strategies and just switching. And I was always looking for the systems and looking for the processes and what's working and what's not working. And my focus had just gotten lost on actually figuring out how do I actually help people and making sure that I was communicating to them how I could be of value. And so, like I said, that weekend ended up really just shifting my worldview and my perspective on my business entirely. I stopped focusing on trying to go viral, chasing engagement, all the algorithm hacks, all the stuff that I've been doing at the time to get to 10,000 followers. And instead, my focus got shifted entirely to just getting clear on exactly what it was I did and how I was unique and how I was different from all the other fitness coaches out there. And then making sure that my content was providing insights. It was valuable. It was shifting beliefs and actually explaining to people my worldview and how it is that I could actually even help them. And again, most important, the biggest key shift here was really putting my focus on other people and just making sure that I was helping them, that I was putting my best ideas out, that I was putting my best insights out. And that led to all kinds of success in my business. All right. I've been doing this now for the last 9 years. And while things were not an overnight success, as cool as it would be to say, hey, within 48 hours, I was a millionaire, whatever. Not true. All right. But by June of 2019, I'd actually opened up Kings Barbell, which is my gym. Here's a picture of my wife and I over here. I actually met my wife at the gym. This is us modeling some t-shirts, Kings Barbell. That was my gym t-shirts. And that was a big thing we're doing, right? So the business, the online business turns into a local in-person gym. I had customers and clients in 7 different countries. We were selling coaching. We were selling merch. We were selling ebooks. And we actually even had people from over 21 different states come into town to actually train legs with us, to deadlift with us. And again, it was just all from my social media. And so looking back, if I knew what I knew now, it would have saved me just a ton of time, a ton of headache, a lot of frustration and confusion. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about for the remainder of this video, what should you actually be doing to grow your business? Now, if you've not been living under a rock, and I'm going to assume that you have not, you know that online fitness coaching exists. In fact, it's 99% most likely that you've already been working with clients, or you're at least posting online, or just at minimum, you've been trying to do this stuff. But over the last 6 months, you've probably felt a massive shift where content engagement is down, DM conversations, they're just getting way more difficult. A lot of times people don't even want to respond to you. And it's just getting harder and harder to get that response out of people and to actually feel like you're moving the business forward. And so most coaches that I'm hearing from, their income is beginning to plateau. And worse, for some people, they're even telling me their income is beginning to dip. And so you've probably tried as a result of this to do all the things that are out there right now. You're being told to post viral content, just ramp up DM volume, go from 10 to 30 to 50 to 100 DMs. You've probably looked at switching or even adding in more social media platforms, getting on TikTok, getting on Facebook, starting a Facebook group, starting an email, starting YouTube, starting a podcast. And you've probably even thought about changing up your offer, right? Or maybe even have changed up your offer. You're switching up your content. You're looking for new ways to grow your business. but it's all just leading back to one place, which is just more confusion. In fact, it's most likely you're probably sitting here right now watching this, just being like, dude, Tal, like, I don't even know what to do. And so I want to show you what that problem actually is. The problem, all right? The problem, it's your personal brand. Right now, what you have to understand is that people are highly skeptical of coaching services, all right? The industry, it's noisier than it's ever been. There are so many fitness coaches. All you have to do is put fitness coach in your bio, and now you're a part of the industry. And everyone's already purchased, all right? This is a big, big piece to it. Everybody's either purchased or at minimum, they've been DM'd, they've been pitched, they've seen the ads. Like, people are aware of what is going on. And so they're worn out on the old style of fitness coaching, the 12-week program with the macros and the 24/7 check-ins. And what people are looking for is they're looking for something that is new. They're looking for something that is better, something that is different. Again, they're just worn out on the old style of fitness coaching that really has been going on for the last 5 years. And so even if you're doing right now something that worked in the past, it's not that you're doing, like, you have to understand this, all right? It's like, it's not that you're doing anything, quote unquote, like wrong per se, right? Like, if you're doing stuff that worked for you in the past, it's not necessarily that what you're doing is like incorrect or wrong or that you suck or that it's like totally broken. Like what's actually happened is that your potential clients have changed the way that they're actually spending money in fitness right now, right? This is such an important piece to understand. If you're still following the old way of doing things, it's not that you're maybe like completely pulling it off wrong and that you're just like completely messing everything up. It's that the way people are purchasing fitness coaching right now has completely shifted. Like I said, a lot of my clients are not even taking sales calls, right? Things are really, really different in the market right now. And in fact, it's estimated that the online fitness coaching industry is growing by roughly 30% each year and has been since 2021. And so if things feel slow right now, it's not because people aren't purchasing. In fact, the industry is growing at a very rapid pace. Again, it's that they're shifting what they're actually purchasing. And so the problem is that it's the way that you're showing up online right now. It's not actually building trust. And we have data on this, all right? The PwC conducted a consumer survey, and specifically what they're looking at is they were looking at trust. And what they found when they went out and talked to business leaders, all right, so we're talking about like CEOs, business owners, managers, like people that are actually like in leadership positions of a company. They went out and they surveyed them and they asked them, hey, what do you believe the consumer trust level is right now? Like, do you believe that people trust your brand? Do you believe that people trust your company, your service, your products? What they found is that 80%, 87% actually to be exact, of business leaders thought, yeah, dude, like everybody trusts us. We're in a good place, full steam ahead. Let's keep going. When they actually went out then and actually surveyed the consumers, the people spending the money, what they found is that only 30% of people in the market right now are trusting of companies, that they trust the company, they trust the brand, they trust the product. And so said differently, like there is a huge gap. There's a 57-point gap between what business owners believe to be true about business and what the consumers and the people with money are actually saying. So there is this huge gap in the trust market right now. And so what we really have to do is figure out, how do we actually bridge that gap, right? So let's talk about this. How do we begin to bridge this gap, and how do we actually begin to build trust so that you can start generating inbound leads, and on a weekly basis, you can sign clients? Like, what is it that we actually need to be doing? And so this is what I call industry leader content marketing. All right, industry leader content marketing. And there are going to be 3 things that I want to cover with you over the next few minutes. Number 1, I want to break down for you why you need to be an industry leader in 2026 that has a unique message and actually stands out. Then I want to talk about what types of content actually gets leads and actually builds trust. It's industry leader content, right? We just talked about that. And I'm going to show you the 8 content pillars that are generating daily inbound leads and are signing clients without even needing to take sales calls. I have in parentheses, this is optional. I do have a few clients that still love to take sales calls, and they still do. But again, in 2026, sales calls are optional. And so quickly, just a one-pager. Who am I? If you're brand new here, by the way, my name is Tal. This is my wife, Alli. This is both of us actually at a local fight night. There's a local boxing club that was holding some matches. And so we got this picture ringside, and we both still run online coaching businesses, all right? I got started all the way back in 2016 as an online fitness coach myself. I ended up opening my gym in 2019, and then I've been consulting with other fitness coaches since 2021. So to date, the clients that I've worked with have generated an estimated 10 million plus in online fitness coaching sales. And so everything that I share with you just comes directly from my own experience, from running a business, from consulting with other business owners. Everything again that I share just comes from that place. And then as always, any results I share, these are not normal. I don't make big promises. I don't overblow like guarantees or anything like that. All right. Every single person is individual and the results are going to vary. So let's talk about 2 industry leaders. I'm actually going to show you multiple different coaches that I've worked with. But I want to show you like 2 industry leaders as we get into this, that you can have a concept, you can have an idea of like what this actually looks like. So over here on the left, we have Coach Steve. Here's him actually sharing a screenshot with me. He said, hey, just crossed a 15K month. This is my best month to date. So what's really cool, and the reason I wanted to share Coach Steve's testimonial here is because when he first came to me, he actually did not even have a social media. He was not posting content. He literally had to create a Facebook account to be able to even send me a message. And so like literally like ground zero, did not have social media. And then here he is, I believe this was around like 18 months later of us working together, crossing his first 15K month. And the thing that I would say about Steve is that he really focused in on this brand piece and really focused in on becoming the go-to authority figure, the industry leader in the CrossFit space. He's a CrossFit nutritionist. And just by focusing in on the brand, I mean, you can see like here's like pictures that he took, like just by focusing in on the brand and really presenting himself well in the online space, 0 to 15K months. Over here we have Coach Amber on the right side. Again, a really good coach. When she first came to us, she was coaching online. All right. She had been working with clients. She was posting consistently. The thing for her though is it had been about 6 months since she had actually landed a client. Just in the second month right here. So her screenshot here says 5th client of the month. That makes April my first 10K month. All right. That's her first 10K month she had ever hit before. And this was in month 2 of working together. All right. So having gone from 6 months of not getting any clients to in month number 2, the first month we just spent a lot of time just working on our content, working on our brand, working on showing up as an industry leader and posting the right content in the right way to where people actually understood what she did. And you can see right here crossing her first 10K months. So that was a couple industry leader stories that I want to share with you. Now, question number 1 that you might be having is, why industry leader? Why should I be posting this style of content? Well, number 1 is everything we do is attraction based. Right? With the current state of social media, it's no secret. The space is extremely noisy. It's crowded. I say all the time, it's noisy, but it's shallow. Right? There's lots of people, but there's also just a lot of fluff. And so that's led to a place where trust is at an all-time low. I have here people are sus, right? They're suspect. They're getting pitched. They're getting sold. They're seeing all these big claims and big guarantees. People are just, they're skeptical. That's just where they're at, right? And so it's no longer just about posting your 5 guys, your 5 girls post to get some leads, right? You do that, and you've probably done that recently, and it just doesn't work. To win in the online space right now, we have to become a leader who attracts and builds an audience full of ideal clients. And you know this to be true because as you look around some of the biggest brands in the world right now, they're almost all ran by people with big names, people that have big followings, celebrities, like people of influence, right? We can think about the Jake and Logan Paul brothers, right? You can think about Andrew Tate. Like some of these people are crazy, but like they're big names and they're making a lot of money in the online space. The Kardashians. In the fitness industry, you have people like Sam Sulek, right? We've all watched him blow up over the last couple of years. You've got Chris Bumstead, same exact thing. Christian Guzman, Nick Bare. I mean, look at Gymshark. Gymshark is a billion-dollar company that has been built off the back of industry leaders, of people that had really influential social media presences, literally grew a multi-billion-dollar company. And so more and more people are buying programs and products and coaching because of who is actually selling the coaching itself or the product itself. It's not just about what it does, right? It's no longer good enough to just be a good coach. It's about who is the coach specifically. And so content is what allows us to actually build that relationship between us and the ideal client. And we can do this faster and easier than really any other form of marketing that's out there. And so number 1, why industry leader? Because it's attraction based. Number 2 is it gets us actually better quality leads. And so the question really is like, would you rather get on a sales call with someone or have some sort of sales conversation in the DMs with someone who just clicked on an ad, or they, you'd sent them a cold DM, or maybe they even just followed you like 2 or 3 minutes ago, but they have absolutely no idea who you are, right? Would you rather do that? Or would you rather get on a call or have a sales conversation or send a DM to someone that has consumed 7 hours plus of content? Somebody that's actually been engaging with your stuff, someone that's now in your DMs, like actually asking you, like an inbound lead, asking you about your program. Like which one would you rather have? Well, you'd rather have the second person, right? The person that's actually reaching out to you. And so when you're posting the right content, every single lead you get is going to be more qualified. They're going to be more sold on you. And it's going to be because there is a deeper connection, right? The actual like bonds between the two of you is going to be much more powerful. And so done correctly, if you're posting the right content, your potential client is going to show up to any sort of sales conversation, any sort of sales call, any sort of masterclass. They're going to show up to like anything you actually do. They're already going to be pre-sold. They're already going to be ready to go. Like these are going to be really warm, really hot leads. And so this is what is allowing us to take prospects from cold to sold faster and much more predictably than really any of the other things out there, like sending cold DMs or trying to go viral. Like these methods, they're just really cold, right? They're not actually building trust with your audience. And so this is how we practically have people begging to hop on our programs. People that are sending inbound DMs just being like, dude, like, what's the program? Can you tell me about it? Can I get some more information? And also we have research on this as well, backing this up. Google actually calls this the 7-11-4 rule. And what they found is that it takes roughly 7 hours of content consumed before someone is going to join your program in 2026. And so this is reason number 2 why we need to be thinking about becoming an industry leader. It's why this is so important. Content consumption, is going to lead to you having better quality leads. And by the way, that's a big piece of why we can sell in the DMs, because we're posting the right content that's pre-selling people. Number 3 is that it actually is a value-first sort of approach, right? Nothing pushing, nothing salesy. The cool thing about being an industry leader is that we're actually focused on building an audience, right? Thinking back to the shift that I was saying earlier that my business really made back in 2016, the shift was really to actually showing up, providing value, providing insights, and leading with value first, right? Rather than just coming in and being super salesy. So when you do this right, there's no hard pitches. You don't have to have a bunch of crazy guarantees, no smoke screens. You don't have to twist people's arms and like drag them, across the line or trick them into joining your program. If you provide valuable content, you will grow and stand out. People will pay attention. And so this is one of the easiest ways to just show people that like you're the real deal, you're a coach worth hiring, that you're worth following. If you can show your expertise, if you can show your client results, if you can show your personality, like this is how we are positioning ourselves as experts, as industry leaders, and as people that other people want to work with. So people need a leader. People don't want tips. They're looking for direction. As a reminder, your audience doesn't wake up And this morning they weren't thinking about like, man, like I just hope to see like another, three more protein tips on the timeline today, right? Nobody's thinking about that. People are looking for a leader. And so in a second, I'm actually going to talk about how to actually be a leader, what to actually be posting. Number 4, why an industry leader is because it actually helps you with audience engagement, right? A lot of coaches right now are struggling with audience engagement. They're feeling invisible. They're not getting a lot out of their content. And so the thing is that most online fitness coaches, probably you right now, like you actually are already posting. And I would just say like, if you're not, then it's like you just literally don't exist online, like you're not even playing the game. The issue is that most coaches are just stuck in this sea of 43 million other fitness coaches giving out another 3 chest tips just like everybody else. And so it's leading to their engagement being low, audience growth being slow, and worst of all, it's like very few clients are actually being enrolled. Often when I talk to a coach, they're enrolling less than 3 clients a month, and so like that's no good. Like we can't grow and scale to 10K months if you're just not signing clients. And so when we focus on creating the right content for your specific ideal client, not only does engagement skyrocket, but because these algorithms are so smart in 2026, it will actually begin showing your content to more ideal clients. And that's what we really want. We're not here to gain 1 million followers. If we can even just get 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 of the right followers, high quality, ideal client, perfect fit prospects and leads for you and your business to follow you, that's where you're gonna have an audience that's full of just ideal clients only. And that's what we're really looking for. And so people actually become clients, they'll be a good fit for your program. And the algorithm, again, is going to crush it for you because it's going to show your content to the right people. And then the last thing with this industry leader way, with this industry leader content marketing approach, is that it allows us to create simple, consistent sales. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all looking for. The beauty of this is that with this new way of doing things, growing your online fitness and coaching and nutrition business, this is allowing my clients to consistently enroll 5 to 10 new clients every single month. They're able to grow through those 5, 10, 15, even $20,000 months. And the best part of all is that we are focused on building businesses that are not just keeping us trapped at our desk all day, where as the business is growing, as things are getting better, life is getting better, it's not getting worse. Because the focus for us is tapping into like, what is your mission? What is your purpose? And most importantly, like, what are you actually doing to consistently make money? This is the key piece to making all of this stuff work, all right? So there are 2 different types of coaches in the online space right now. Number 1, we have industry followers. An industry follower is a person that coaches that chases trends. They're always looking for like what's working right now. They talk like everybody else. In fact, like they're encouraged by most of the people out there to just go copy other people, go find other content creators, look at what they're posting, post the same stuff they do. Industry followers, they over edit their content with ChatGPT. They've got all this like generic robotic content. They're posting for engagement instead of authority. They're terrified to actually turn anybody off. They're terrified to actually have any beliefs. And so the result is that, they might attract some content consumers. They might actually go viral. They might pop off. They might get some followers. But it's just people who like the content. Maybe they save the content, but most often they just end up scrolling by. And again, like I said, back in 2016, I was able to grow my Twitter following to over 10,000 followers, but I was not actually making money. I was not actually getting clients. And so what we want to do is we actually want to be an industry leader. Now, an industry leader, they have a clear point of view. They are very clear on this is who I am. This is what I believe. This is who I'm for. They focus on their message. They're not focused on the algorithm. They speak from real experiences. They're not just using templates. They're actually creating their own frameworks, their own language. They're sharing their own ideas and actually being willing to repel the wrong people. They're taking stances, they're taking positions, and really focusing in on communicating in a way that attracts the right people to them. And so as a result, they attract action takers, people who buy, people who commit, and ultimately people who want to stay and be a part of the program. And the important thing here is that 90% of the market are industry followers. And it's really only 10% of the market that are these industry leaders. And so I'm going to walk you through what to actually post to be an industry leader. Number 1 is we have to be someone who displays the behaviors, the traits, and the results that your ideal client wants. So said differently, like we have to actually be the example that people can model after. This is known as memetics. That's a whole other like tangent and thing to go down. But we have to actually be an example of what winning looks like. We have to be inspirational, aspirational. We have to actually be a good role model for our clients. And even if you're not your ideal client, by the way, for instance, like say you are a male that helps like female clients, you can still display the levels of discipline, of energy, excitement, vitality, life. Like you can still display the things that people want, right? Because again, these are the things that people are attracted to. This is such an important piece. Fitness at its core is a better life offer, right? When somebody buys your program, they are paying you money with the expectation that their life is going to get better, not worse. Right? Their life is going to get better, not worse. And so many fitness coaches right now, they're so confused on what to sell. It's because they're trying to sell, a 12-week program with macros and 24/7 check-ins. Nothing about that actually explains to people how their life is going to get better. So this is what people actually buy into. These are the things that your social media needs to be displaying. Number 1, a leader displays the behaviors, the traits, the results that other people want for themselves. Number 2, a leader can prove that other people are actually following them. that there's other people doing the stuff they're saying, and those people are getting results as well. Number 3, a leader shares ideas that the followers can choose to buy into and choose to believe. Number 4, a leader shows the same values as their followers want. Number 5, a leader creates a unique way to get results, something that's different from everything else. And number 6, a leader has a story that people can relate to, that they're a person who's been there, a person who gets it, and someone that can actually help lead them to where they want to be. And once you get into this position of leadership, once you're sharing this right stuff on your social media, and you step into a position of leadership in someone else's mind, this is where you begin to actually gain real authority and people actually start to listen to you. Again, so many coaches, they're feeling invisible in the timeline right now because they're not actually displaying any of these leadership qualities on their social media. And so people are not listening to them, people are not following along, people are not seeing them as that authority figure. So you must be a leader first. This is piece number 1. If you're not a leader, your content, your social media is just not going to work. And so this is why industry followers get left behind, because industry followers are just chasing all of the leaders. They're copying their content. They're just regurgitating other people's thoughts. They're not even leading themselves. And then they wonder like, hey, like, why isn't this working for me? Why does it work for this coach, but it's not working for me? Why are other people succeeding, but I can't seem to figure it out? And it's because they're being an industry follower. They're just regurgitating, over editing, AI content. They're doing all the things that industry followers do. They're posting forgettable pieces of information that have nothing to do with themselves, nothing to do with their program, nothing to do with any of their own unique ideas. And so there are 8 market leader content pillars. And while I'm not gonna have time to go into each and every single one of these, I literally have 2-hour videos breaking down these 8 pieces of content and all kinds of trainings just going into detail with this. There's really 8 core content pillars. Number 1, we have to be sharing with people your mission. Why are you here? What are you setting out to achieve? Number 2, we have to create a plan, all right? Your plan, where are you going? Where are you leading people? What does this look like? Number 3, we need a future self. People have to understand who do they get to become when they join your program. Number 4, we need philosophies. We need to actually explain to people your insights and your values and your processes and how things actually work. Number 5, we have to share your big ideas. So we have to actually have frameworks and original pieces of like actual playbooks and resources and things to actually share with people. Number 6, your story, right? Pretty self-explanatory. You have to actually share with people your story, why you do what it is you do. Number 7, we need proof. Number 8, we need case studies. Both of those really is wrapping up like, hey, we have to show people that our stuff gets people results. And so these are the 8 core pieces. And each of these pieces of content, they build authority, they build trust. An industry leader, really what we're here to do is to create our own ideas, to really step into the marketplace, and instead of just regurgitating other people's ideas, actually stand out as unique and different. So an industry leader doesn't just remix what everyone's saying. They actually name their things. They own the concepts, the frameworks, the methodologies. Like, they have actual original ideas. So industry followers, they only trust themselves to regurgitate another leader's ideas. They just copy other people. And that's what's keeping them a follower. But an industry leader, they take their ideas, they put their own spins on them, they make it their own, they create their own original insights and frameworks and ideas and philosophies, knowing that when people buy into these unique ideas, that they're buying into them. And so this is what it looks like in action from a high level. Number 1, we have to first get you clear on what exactly, how is it that you are unique and different so that you can actually start getting leads. Number 1, coaches right now are just really struggling because they blend in and they sound like everybody else. Number 2, most people are plugged into an industry follower type strategy. They sometimes are even being advised by the people to just copy trends, copy other people, look at what other big accounts are doing and just use their stuff. So we have to actually go the other way and figure out, how are you unique and different so that we can start attracting leads? Number 2, then we have to package all of your unique ideas into your own IP and put that inside of an offer. So we have to package up an offer that explains to people what it is you do, how it is you can help, how your program works, what it actually looks like to work with you. And then we want to go out and validate that by getting your next 3 clients. Then we need to start posting industry leader content that is positioning you as that leader, as that authority figure, and that's actually beginning to build trust. Because again, so many people right now, they're just so skeptical. And if you sound like everybody else, if you look like everybody else, if you're saying the same thing as everybody else, you're just not going to build authority and you're not going to build trust. And then the 4th and final thing is we need to add a social funnel to your business that takes all of these leads you're getting, that pre-sells them automatically and turns your followers into clients. Again, all of this can be done without any sort of sales calls. And this is what I call the industry leader way. This is how my clients are building $10,000 a month online fitness coaching businesses by posting the right content, positioning themselves as an authority figure, getting clear on how they are unique and different, how they actually stand out from everybody else, packaging this stuff up into a message that stands out, and sharing in the online space a real mission and a real message and attracting ideal clients to them. This is what is working in 2026. This is what you need to do if you're serious about growing your business. Because again, so many coaches right now, the reason they're really great coaches, all right? They're really great coaches. They can get people great results. But unfortunately, people are not seeing that. People are not paying attention. And it's not until they actually step out and they begin to lead and they leave the industry follower way and they start to become a leader in the space that their business is actually going to turn around. And so here's more $10 million plus results. Coaches that I've helped, we have Coach Jeremy. Over here, he's talking about having 32 clients. He keeps around 30 to 40 clients on the roster. He's actually gone on to start his own powerlifting gym. Came to us at around $2,000 months, all right? So only really had a few clients. And when we came in with him, again, here he is talking about 32 plus clients. Here in the middle then, we have Coach Ian. Ian's talking about 14K months with 11 days off. 6 new people signed up. He re-signed a couple, and he also took a couple in-person clients and went on to hit even bigger months than 14K months. But I really wanted to share this one because he took 11 days off in the month. He was really only working like 4 days a week, which is pretty cool. Here's Coach Blaine. Blaine talking about having a $5,000 day. She went on to have like a $22,000 month, I believe, and just showing literally like, with the right content, you can book tons of sales calls, or you can generate lots of leads, or you can close people directly there in the DMs. Here we have Coach Kala on the bottom left talking about official 10K plus month. So this was the biggest income earning month that Kala had had in 15 years as a nutrition coach. He came in, really great coach, really good at what he was doing, but he just didn't feel comfortable with the way that he was representing himself, how he was actually showing up in the online space, and ultimately just the way that he was coming across to his ideal client. So by stepping up as an industry leader, getting clear on how he was unique and different, fixing his content, completely shifted everything for him. We have Coach Jared here in the middle talking about 11 discovery calls, 7 sales calls, 4 sales, 2 more pending, more calls on the calendar, right? Just all kinds of calls, all kinds of clients. Again, very similar for him. He came in, he wasn't really loving the message and the brand that he was building. He was like, hey, I really want to work with like ex-athletes, right? And so we really took time to iron out like, what does that look like? What are these people, what are they struggling with? What do they need to hear from you to be able to know that like, hey, you're the coach for them? Then we have Coach Vince over here talking about 1 for 1 today, pretty solid, about 3 others as well. That will be 7 signups for the month. Coach Vince, really great coach. For him, we built a really cool brand called Dadletic. And, he was a previous CrossFit gym owner for about a decade. Really great coach. Just didn't really have much of a brand. Didn't really like the way he was representing himself. And so, again, you can see when you get this stuff right, it completely shifts and it completely changes your business. And so only one thing can really stop you from here. At this point, you can close this video. You can go about your life without taking action on any of the things that I've talked about here today. But here's the reality. 6 months from now, you're still going to be stuck under 10K months. You're still going to be posting content that's getting ignored. You're still going to be watching other coaches who probably are not as good as you, filling up their program, while you're just wondering, like, what is it that I'm doing wrong? And the truth is that it's not going to just fix itself, right? Your content is not just going to suddenly start working and blowing up and just getting you all these leads. Your DMs aren't just going to magically fill up and all of a sudden everybody wants to talk to you. And your business isn't just going to grow if you stay consistent and you just keep doing the things that aren't working. And every month that goes by is just going to be another month where you're leaving money on the table, you're watching your confidence slip, you're wondering, is this coaching thing something that actually can work, right? Can I make money at this? And at the end of the day, you're just left stressing about whether the next month is actually going to work, if you're going to make money, or if this is going to be the month that all falls apart. The thing is I know you're better than this, you know that you're better than this, but your results are just not showing. And I say it all the time, you can be the best coach in the world. You can have all the certifications, you can have the perfect program, but at the end of the day, if people are not paying attention, if you do not have leads, if you are not having sales conversations, then it just doesn't matter because your business is not going to grow. And so it's time for change. If you are sitting here and you're watching this and you are ready to stop being invisible, you want to start landing clients. On average, the goal for me is to get a client to be bringing in 1 to 3 new people every single week. And you don't want to have to post 5 times a day or send cold DMs or hope the algorithm somehow makes you go viral. Then I want you to reach out to me on Instagram and message me the word ready. I'm going to send you over details and break down how it is that I can actually help you. I'll show you what it looks like to work with me if your goal is to get to 10K months and beyond. You can find a link to my Instagram down below. So go ahead and go down there, click the link. Again, message me the word ready. Send me a message right now, and I'd love to chat.